Did you know over 300 million people are LGBTQ+? But what happens when your parents are global celebrities? From Chaz Bono's public fight for identity to E.J. Johnson's glittering rebellion against gender norms. Here are 25 gay children of famous celebrities. 1. Chaz Bono. Imagine being born famous, like music royalty. That was Chaz Bono. His whole life, people watched him. But deep inside, for years and years, he felt stuck, like a boy hidden in the wrong body. Think how weird that must feel, especially when the whole world knows your name. He finally decided to make his outside match his inside. But this wasn't a private thing. Nope. It was a huge public fight for everyone to watch and whisper about. Even his super famous mom, Cher, seemed confused at first. Did she really get what her son was going through? She eventually said she supported him, lots of times in public. But maybe that wasn't easy. Did Chaz have to keep explaining his deepest feelings over and over again just to be himself? That sounds like a heavy price to pay. His tough journey helped people see transgender folks more. But did it really change things for others fighting the same battle, especially those without his fame? Another famous kid took a different road, just as complicated. 2. E.J. Johnson. Magic Johnson was a basketball king. His son, E.J. Johnson, he rules the fashion world, a place known for being super critical. E.J. dresses wild, mixing up boy and girl styles like a boss. His clothes shout, "I won't fit in your boring boxes." He's making his own name, far away from basketball courts. He even went on reality TV, where fancy lives often hide secret worries. Magic Johnson says he's super proud now. But was it always that easy? What happened behind closed doors before the cameras turned on? Did Dad get it right away? E.J. gives advice to other LGBTQ+ young people finding their way. But does he really explain how much it burns when everyone stares because you dare to be different and so flashy? E.J.'s sparkle is amazing, but maybe it's also like shiny armor he needs to wear against all the judgment. Can making your own amazing world really keep the mean outside world away? 3. Dan Levy. Remember Schitt's Creek? That show felt like a warm hug. Dan Levy and his famous dad, Eugene, built this cozy little world on TV. Dan's character, David, found love and friends easily in a town where nobody seemed to care he was gay. It looked like the perfect place to belong. But was that just wishful thinking? Was it a sweet story made up because the real world is often way meaner and harder? Dan says he wants to show happy gay stories, which is great. We need those. But do these almost perfect fantasy towns really connect with people living messy, real lives every day? His show was a massive hit for sure, but it showed a very cleaned up, shiny version of being queer today. Dan's hopeful picture is super popular, but real life doesn't always have neat, happy endings like a TV show. Another famous kid uses hard truth like a weapon. 4. Ronan Farrow. Ronan Farrow was super smart as a kid, maybe headed for a big government job, working inside the system. It looked like he'd be a powerful insider. But then, plot twist. He flipped the script. He used his sharp brain to become a reporter digging into powerful people doing bad things, especially those secretly abusing their power. He's openly gay, but his main focus seems to be finding the ugly truths others try to bury. Could his own family's super messy, very public, and often ugly history be what drives him to uncover everyone else's secrets? He wins big awards for his reporting, but his work forces people to face uncomfortable stuff and makes him powerful enemies. Ronan digs and digs for the truth. Maybe his own complicated past makes him do it. Truth is also key for the next person, shared with help from a famous mom. 5. Ruby Guest. When your mom is a huge, beloved movie star like Jamie Lee Curtis, your life is never really just yours. Every little thing you do might end up in the news. It's like living under a giant magnifying glass. Ruby Guest bravely told the world she was a woman, that she's transgender. That's a huge personal truth. And it changes everything for her and her family, in private and in public. Her mom, Jamie Lee, talks a lot about how much she supports Ruby, even using special pronouns for her when winning awards. Is this all real, easy love? Or is some of it a good Hollywood show for the cameras? Jamie Lee admits she's still learning, which hints that maybe it wasn't instantly easy for the family. Ruby hopes her story helps others. But is it worth sharing something so deep and personal when it means the whole world stares at you forever? Mom and daughter look like a team, but growing up and changing under that bright, non-stop spotlight must be incredibly hard. Way harder than for most families. Another family knows that bright light all too well. 6. Zaya Wade. Basketball fame followed Dwyane Wade everywhere. Now that same bright, often cruel light follows his young daughter, Zaya. When she was very young, she said clearly, "I'm a girl." She seemed so sure, but it threw her into the middle of a giant public story that used to be about her dad's hoops skills. Her parents, Dwyane and actress Gabrielle Union, fight for her like lions, very loudly and very publicly. They talk about loving her no matter what and protecting her fiercely. They use their fame to fight against hate aimed at Zaya and other trans people. But does all this public fighting really keep Zaya safe? Or does it just put her young life even more under the microscope for everyone to pick apart? She speaks so well for her age, but she must feel a huge weight, representing so many people while still being so young. The Wades fight hard for Zaya's rights, but does this big public battle steal from her a chance to just be a kid in private? Some families try to stay hidden instead. Stephen Ira Beatty. Hollywood legends Warren Beatty and Annette Bening are known for being super private, trying hard to keep their family life away from the cameras. Their oldest kid, Stephen Ira Beatty, seems to want the same thing, making his own way far from the family spotlight. Word is he knew he was a boy early on and transitioned as a young teen, mostly out of sight. His famous parents say they're proud. His dad once called him a revolutionary. That's strong support. Yet Stephen mostly stays hidden. He's a writer, choosing shadows instead of the bright lights his name could bring. Does living quietly give him real peace? Or is it just a smart way to avoid the drama and stares his identity might attract out in the open? Stephen Beatty's quiet life makes you wonder, when you're born famous, is hiding the only way to truly be free? 8. Samuel Joseph Moses. Cynthia Nixon played famous TV characters, especially Miranda on The City. But being a mom brought different attention, especially when she ran for office. Her oldest child, Samuel Joseph Moses, who goes by Seth, lives openly as a transgender man. Cynthia seems bursting with mom pride, celebrating his graduation online and calling him her son. She speaks out a lot for trans rights, saying Seth encouraged her to use her fame to help. So her mom job and her public voice mix together. But growing up with a famous mom who speaks her mind politically must put weird pressure on a kid. How does Seth deal with having this double legacy of art and activism? Cynthia clearly uses her fame to back up her son and his community. But fame is tricky. It can protect you, but it also puts you right out there. Another star mom walks this tricky line very carefully. 9. Jackson Theron. Huge movie star Charlize Theron adopted her first child, Jackson. She wanted to make her family her own way, not following old rules. Then Jackson, while still little, said very clearly, "I am not a boy." That changed things. Charlize listened. She accepted it. She supports her child completely. She fights like a mama bear to keep paparazzi away from both her daughters, hardly ever sharing pictures or private stuff. She often says Jackson will tell her own story one day, if and when she wants to. She wants Jackson to be in charge of her own story later. But can the kid of a giant global star ever really own their story completely? Won't people always guess and gossip based on who her mama is? Charlize controls the story now by saying very little, but the world is watching and waiting and guessing. Hiding her daughter now is good, but the quiet around Jackson just leaves lots of room for people to talk and stare later on. Another actress does the exact opposite. She shares almost everything. 10. Birdie Lee Silverstein. Actress Busy Phillips puts her whole family life online. Her brand is being super honest, maybe even sharing too much on social media. Millions of people follow her daily life. So when her oldest child, Birdie, came out as gay and later said they used they/them pronouns, that personal journey became public news, part of the online show. Busy shared everything, including her own mistakes and learning moments as a parent figuring things out. She cheers Birdie on very loudly online. Her goal seems to be helping others understand by being totally open, making her family's story a lesson for her followers. But is sharing this much really good for Birdie? Doesn't it open them up to mean comments and too much attention online? Busy often uses Birdie's identity journey to teach life lessons to her huge audience. Does Birdie feel supported? Or maybe used, like content for their mom's popular online brand? Busy's open book style definitely gets attention, but maybe it blurs the line between real mom support and just putting your kid's life out there for clicks. Sometimes, having money offers a different kind of protection, or maybe its own kind of trap. All right, let's dive back into the drama, asking more hard questions with simpler words about these famous kids. 11. Nat Getty. Imagine being born into a family so rich, it's almost like a fairy tale. The Getty oil family. Nat Getty lives a fancy life as a model, designer, fighter for rights, and a well-known transgender man. All that family money hangs in the background. They're married to internet star Gigi Gorgeous, and their life looks super glamorous, always online for everyone to see. Nats uses their big platform and loads of family cash to help LGBTQ+ causes. Their mom, Ariadne Getty, helps too, working together through their family charity group. Fighting for rights seems like a big part of who Nats is, mixing what they believe in with the money they have. But is this good work easy because of all the inherited money and connections? Or does having that super famous Getty name bring its own weird, lonely pressures that nobody else gets? That powerful name surely opens doors, but maybe it also traps Nats in a shiny, high-stakes world few can understand. Another rich kid faces totally different, maybe lonelier, problems. 12. Etta Ng. Jackie Chan is a global action hero known everywhere. He's famous for crazy stunts and being charming, but his daughter, Etta Ng, lives a life miles away from his bright spotlight and huge fortune. The difference between their lives is shocking. Etta came out as lesbian and married her partner. She openly talked about tough times, even being homeless sometimes. She said she felt alone, without money or love from her super famous dad. Her story paints a picture of struggle, not the easy life you might expect. Does her dad's giant fame cast a long, cold shadow over her life? Etta's fight sounds raw and painful, way different from stories of rich kids getting easy acceptance. She's making her own tough path, maybe pushed by feeling ignored and left behind by her father. Etta's story whispers about the deep hurt and mess that crazy fame can cause inside a family. Maybe laughing it off is a better way to cope for another family. 13. Amai Wayans. Funny man Marlon Wayans makes crowds roar with laughter. His job is all about being out there, performing for people. But when his child, Amai, came out as lesbian, he got serious and showed tons of love, a different side of him. Wayans posted online about how proud he was, like putting up a strong shield of dad support for everyone to see. He said loud and clear he wants Amai to live free, without fear or shame, using his fame to shout acceptance. But does one nice Instagram post really wipe away all the problems and stares that come with having a famous last name? Amai mostly stays private, out of the spotlight. Is that just what they want? Or maybe it's a necessary shield against the same attention world Wayans works in. Wayans shows great public support, but finding real peace usually takes more than just posts online. Some families have to deal with these tricky things more than once. 14. Max Dubrow. On TV, Heather Dubrow works hard to show off a perfect, rich, happy family life for the show The Real Housewives of Orange County. Her whole brand is about this image of perfect family happiness. So, when her older daughter Max came out as bi, of course, it became another story for their popular show. Heather talks a lot about loving Max no matter what, saying it over and over on camera. Is all this love totally real? Or is some of it just acting for good TV ratings and nice headlines? Max now lives openly LGBTQ+, adding to the family's public story of being modern and accepting. Does she feel truly seen for who she is? Or maybe, sometimes, like just a character in her mom's never-ending TV show? Max bravely shared her identity first, but the TV family's journey wasn't over yet. More secrets were about to come out for the cameras. 15. Kat Dubrow. Next up in the Dubrow family show, younger daughter Kat told her family and then the TV audience that she was lesbian. This came after her sister Max came out, adding another layer to the family's public story. Again, parents Heather and Dr. Terry Dubrow quickly showed public support, perfectly matching the Dubrow family brand of being open and modern that fans expected. 2 openly gay kids in one famous reality TV family. Is that just how it happened? Or maybe it shows a truly loving home, even with cameras always around. Kat's identity quickly became part of the family's public story, talked about on the show and in the news. Does living so openly on camera help make LGBTQ+ people seem normal? Or does it risk turning someone's deep personal truth into just another piece of entertainment for people to watch? 2 daughters, 2 different LGBTQ+ paths shared with the world. But wait, the Dubrow house had one more surprise reveal coming. 16. Ace Dubrow. The youngest Dubrow kid, Ace, seemed to finish the family's public story of LGBTQ+ acceptance. He came out as a transgender boy when he was very young. This news followed his older sisters locking in the family's image on their reality show. His mom, Heather, announced it proudly online, controlling how the story first got out to their huge audience. Now Ace grows up being celebrated by his family in public. Millions know his personal identity through their show and social media. He might be the most publicly known young trans kid since Jazz Jennings. Does all this public cheering actually make Ace feel safe and good? Or does it accidentally steal his private childhood, making him figure out who he is with the whole world watching? The Dubrow family always looks like a perfect modern team for the cameras. But what secret worries might be hiding just under that shiny reality TV surface where viewers can't see? 3 kids, 3 different LGBTQ+ identities, all living under the non-stop stare of the public eye. Another former reality star handled a similar family reveal very differently. 17. Miles Bellino. Alexis Bellino, also known from The Real Housewives of Orange County, later shared that her child Miles is transgender. It's a familiar story. Reality TV families' private lives become public news. But she shared this after she left the show, which maybe changed how she did it. Her announcement online sounded full of love and pride, but importantly, she also firmly asked for respect for his journey and privacy. She says she wants Miles to be happy, but clearly guards his privacy much more fiercely than the Dubrows do, sharing less information. Why the big difference in how they handled such personal news? Did Bellino, maybe knowing how mean people can be online, fear the judgment that comes with fame more now? Miles lives his truth with his mom's support, but he's kept away from the constant spotlight his mom once wanted. Bellino tries to balance strong support with strong protection, a very different way to handle fame and family identity. Across the world, another parent stands just as strong, maybe even more openly, with their child. 18. Grace Hyland. Australian actor Matt Stevenson, known from the soap opera Home and Away, publicly stood by his child Grace as she became the woman she always knew she was. Their story got a lot of attention in Australia. Grace shares details about being transgender online, building her own following. Her dad, Matt, often shares his support right alongside her. He even symbolically adopted her again as his daughter in public to show his love. This dad-daughter team looks incredibly strong, like they really love and respect each other. But does sharing so much personal stuff online invite mean comments from strangers? Does it take being super tough to handle that? Grace faces the world boldly, with her proud dad always beside her. Together, they challenge anyone who dares to judge or misunderstand them. Grace and Matt Hyland bravely face the world as a team, their powerful connection clear to see. Elsewhere, families figure things out more quietly. 19. Jack McDermott. Hollywood history runs deep in the often messy family life of Tori Spelling and Dean McDermott. They're always in the news, often sharing money problems and relationship drama publicly. Their oldest son, Jack McDermott, is reportedly gay. He seems to be finding his own place quietly in this complicated family line. Compared to his parents' often chaotic and very public lives, Jack keeps a very low profile. He stays quiet and avoids the spotlight. Did he learn to want peace after watching years of drama play out in public? Does growing up with so much public family mess make finding your own truth even harder? Jack seems to be carefully figuring out who he is far away from the cameras that always follow his parents. Jack McDermott seems set on finding his own path, maybe realizing that staying quiet is the best way to protect himself. Others find figuring themselves out is more like a public show. 20. Jazz Jennings. Jazz Jennings got famous as a little kid. Her life as one of the first well-known young transgender girls was shown for years on the TV show I Am Jazz. She became known everywhere. Her whole family stood by her, fighting publicly for her rights and health care from when she was tiny. But did being on camera constantly steal her childhood? Did it force her to grow up with everyone watching, unlike any other kid? I Am Jazz showed happy moments, yes, but it also showed deep sadness, mental health struggles, and the painful truth of hard surgeries. It was a very raw look at her journey. Jazz became a symbol for trans kids everywhere, maybe before she even knew who she was as an adult. Was being this important voice something she truly chose? Or was it pushed onto her by the situation, the cameras, and what people needed? She is incredibly brave, no doubt. But the possible personal cost of being so famous your whole life, starting as a child, seems huge. Jazz Jennings lived almost her entire life, changing for the whole world to see. Some other famous kids explore who they are much more quietly. 21. Shiloh Jolie Pitt, born to global megastars. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, Shiloh Jolie Pitt faced a level of world fame and media madness few ever know, right from day one. Every photo, every trip outside became instant world news. Imagine growing up with that kind of intense watching. From a young age, Shiloh liked suits and short hair more than typical girl clothes. This made Shiloh constantly challenge old ideas about gender, causing endless talk and guessing around the world about who they were, long before they could even say it themselves. The world whispered online and in magazines, studying pictures for clues. Through all this noise, Shiloh stays quiet about any labels for their gender or identity. They're just growing up under the crazy pressure of massive fame, where privacy doesn't exist. Is Shiloh just exploring their own style, feeling good outside the usual boxes? Or is something deeper about gender happening privately, kept secret by the family? Shiloh's look keeps fueling non-stop public talk and guesses, a heavy weight of fame where every choice gets picked apart. Another celebrity kid plays with what people expect just as boldly, but maybe speaks up more. 22. Jaden Smith. Jaden Smith isn't afraid to break rules. He wears skirts, rocks fashion that mixes boy and girl styles, and talks a lot about smashing boxes people try to put you in. As the son of huge Hollywood stars Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, he uses clothes and his fame like tools. He wants to make statements, poke people, and mess with ideas about what boys should look like. He's definitely not trying to be quiet about it. He wants you to notice and talk. But what's really going on? Is he just having fun with clothes, being a creative artist who likes weird styles? Or is he trying to tell us something deeper about who he is? Maybe he doesn't feel just like a boy or a girl. Maybe he's non-binary, but just doesn't want to use the label? He smartly avoids clear tags for his gender or who he likes. He seems to like keeping people guessing, pushing buttons, leaving everyone wondering what he means. Does this constant playing with rules really change how people think about gender? Does it make a real difference? Or is it mostly just something super famous and rich kids get to do without any real problems, something regular people couldn't try? Jaden Smith's ever-changing style definitely keeps people talking, trying to figure out his big message. Others, though, choose paths that seem much clearer. 23. M.A. Muniz, Singing Superstars. Jennifer Lopez and Mark Anthony have watched their child, M.A. Muniz, step right into the spotlight. M.A. clearly got musical talent from both famous parents. Then came a big show, a fancy gala for the LA Dodgers. J.Lo introduced M.A. using they-them pronouns, right there on a huge stage in front of thousands. It seemed like she was announcing M.A.'s non-binary identity to the whole world, and the news spread like wildfire. Now M.A. performs next to their world-famous mom, showing off their singing skills to giant crowds. But wait a second, was that big public announcement by mom a real act of love and support for M.A.'s journey? Or could it also be seen as a smart move for the carefully built Jennifer Lopez brand, making her look modern and accepting? It's hard for people watching from the outside to know for sure. M.A. smiles for the cameras next to mom. Their non-binary identity is now a big part of who they are in public. But it feels like mom kind of introduced it, framed it for everyone, instead of M.A. maybe saying it first themselves. How much power does a young person really have to tell their own story when their parent is that famous and powerful? Another child of stars explores who they are much more quietly, far away from stage introductions. 24. Kai Schreiber. Famous actors Naomi Watts and Liev Schreiber usually keep a lower profile than some other Hollywood stars. They seem to want to give their child, Kai, room to figure things out without a lot of public noise or talk. You often see pictures of Kai with their parents, sometimes wearing dresses or clothes usually seen on girls. Sometimes Kai even dresses up as girl characters for events like Comic-Con. This has been happening for years, a steady pattern of playing with gender styles. So what does this mean? Are the parents quietly supportive, letting Kai lead the way? Or are they maybe just ignoring it in public, letting the paparazzi take pictures, but never explaining anything? Since Naomi and Liev haven't said anything official about Kai's clothes or identity, people are left to just guess and gossip. There's just this silence. Does this silence give Kai real freedom from labels and pressure, letting them figure things out privately? Or could it leave Kai feeling alone, trying to handle tricky feelings and stares without backup? Kai Schreiber explores who they are softly, their path marked by quiet choices. These famous kids, finding their way across the LGBTQ+ rainbow or just exploring how they want to dress, all face a world that stares, judges, and hardly ever gets the huge pressure that comes with a famous name tied to a life just starting out. Their roads are very different, but that heavy weight of fame, in all its shapes, touches every single one of them deeply. Ricky May Davao. Ricky May Davao grew up with famous acting parents in the Philippines, Jackie Lou Blanco and Ricky Davao. It's like being born into the family business, where everyone knows your face because of TV and movies in your own country. Her journey seems to have happened with less worldwide attention than the kids of Hollywood giants, giving us a different look at dealing with fame and personal truth. Telling her truth, that she's gay, seems to have happened in careful steps, maybe showing things were complicated in the family. She wrote her dad a letter, maybe needing some space for him to think, but she told her mom face to face. Her mom reportedly said, "I know," and was proud right away. Her dad later said he loved and respected her no matter what. On the outside, it sounds pretty simple and nice, right? But do these easy, happy stories really show everything? Could there be hidden fears, quiet judgments, or special pressures about being LGBTQ+, even in families that seem supportive? Especially in a place like the Philippines, where Catholicism is strong. Ricky May's story feels quieter, less dramatic than others told under the bright lights of global news. Is that quietness a real gift, letting her have a more normal life? Or is her story just harder to see on the big world stage run by Western celebrities? Her experience shows how acceptance can look different in different families and cultures.